Hey, what's up, guys? Tuga here, back again, episode 12 of A Nation United, and let's get right down to it. After a fairly disappointing draft in the last episode, and after a fairly disappointing end to the episode before that, we are looking for a positive episode, something to really, boost up that confidence and the momentum that this franchise has as we head into the next season. So we will start off by re-signing Linus Ullmark. We can get him for pretty damn cheap. 2-year deal, not bad. Not sure if he'll be on the team next year. That depends on Hogberg, for one, and whether or not Adam Werner decides to jump to like an 82, 83 overall. But he is the only goalie we need to work with. Frederick Claesson, who made a pretty insane jump last year to make the roster. Looking for a big-time contract, and it is listing him as a top 6. You'll see underneath his overall, which is weird because for the majority of last season, he was listed as a top 4 defenseman, so that's a bit concerning. But again, progression on this game is weird, and which, isn't the greatest thing for me to say, I guess. Not the wisest thing. As far as, positivity, just being like, oh, yeah, I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point. Progression is weird. This team is basically built upon progression. Hopeful progression that a lot of these players will turn in to what we need them to turn into. I will actually re-sign Wickstrand. He's looking for the minimum deal, so he won't be a bad player to have at the AHL level. People are screaming for me to sign Liljegren. It will happen. I'm just going to wait, okay? I guarantee you he will be on our roster, one of our rosters, come next season. I just want to wait to see what happens in free agency and who we still need to re-sign. Pontus Aberg, we will look to bring back. He's not a bad guy for the AHL roster. He's not going to turn in to that full-time NHL guy that we were hoping he would be. Adrian Kempe, disappointing season last year. Only looking for a 1-year deal. So this is kind of a bridge contract, a prove-me contract, and we'll hope that he can step up. Nordstrom, again, kind of a disappointing season last year. Looking for a 2-way deal, which is surprising. I'll still sign him. At the very least, we should be able to trade him away for pretty much nothing if we have to. Oh, Tobias Lindberg, not a bad rookie season on our 4th line. We'll sign him up as well, and we are almost through this. The big contract comes with William Nylander, but again, I'm not all that concerned. The good thing is he is still showing up as a first-line center, which is very good news for us. Whether or not he plays center or on the wing throughout this series, I have not yet decided. It kind of depends on who else we end up with throughout this series. It is tough to tell. We'll resign Kevin Stenlund, and we are looking good. Breezed through the re-sign phase. Only took a couple of minutes tops. Well, as long as nobody declines, which I don't imagine will be the case. At least I hope not. By the time William Nylander declines and be like, no, I want to go to free agency, and I have to hit him up as an RFA and then just take, nothing in picks back for him. But everybody looks to have accepted. Beautiful. Let's move on to free agency. And again, last year, there was just nothing for us. We ended up signing Toby Enstrom and Trevor Daley and had to trade them away at the start of the season because of progression from our other players. We are looking for some difference makers in this year's free agent class. Will we find them? No. No, we won't. No, we won't. Shit. All right, well, we'll start off by looking at goaltenders. And again, the thing you have to remember here, is I can't look at their nationality from here. So if it's a created player or a younger player, I'm going to have to guess based off name, and a mistake could happen. So, for example, Antti Ranta, for all I know, he's fucking Swedish. He's Finnish, I'm positive, but you get my point. It would be nice to be able to sign him. That's not going to happen. But as it is, there's nobody here that we'd want to bring in anyway. Gustafson's, or, Gustafson and Roth, but No, we'll pass. Prospect-wise, it's not great either. Artu Kumala might be. I can't say for sure, so I'm not going to go after him. Based off of my best guess, he wouldn't be Swedish. But let's see, who else do we have here? Oscar Masiello, I mean, he might be, but either way, it's medium backup potential. It's not like we're missing out on a guarantee. And that's the only way I'll kind of take the risk and being like, you know what, fuck it, I don't know for sure, but I'm signing him anyway, is if they're actually worth, you know, bringing up to the roster and taking the risk for. There isn't a single goalie that we're going after. Defensemen, we're not going to need the help, most likely. We should be fine. There's nobody we'd look to sign anyway. So let's look prospect-wise. Is there anybody? I'm mainly looking at the age numbers, of course, on the far right-hand side. Medium 7th isn't great. You have Eunice Leitinen. Yeah, you are Finnish. You are Finnish, aren't you? 20 years old. Low 7th, though. God. Slim pickings here. Slim pickings. Alex Goodbranson. You're only 23. Jesus. Look like you're 37. That's insane. That is insane. He's been able to get into bars since he was 8 years old. Alright. There's nobody defensively either. Oh my god. Alright. Well, again, our team is built upon hopeful progression. We're going to need that to be the case because we're in a bit of a rough spot here. Nikita Soshnikov, how I wish you were Swedish. How I wish. Sven Andrighetto is not. Potential-wise, we don't have anybody. We don't have anybody. We might not be signing anybody. We might be jumping literally just right to the preseason. I mean, Albin Storm. I think Albin Storm might be. I think he is, but he's low bottom 6. So it's like, what's the point? What is the point? Ivan Durock, like, that's just, there's nobody, man. There is nobody that we can bring aboard, which is a shame. Left wings, was there somebody that I missed? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Just even one potential prospect? Anybody? I mean, Kosilla's 25, and I imagine he's Finnish. There's nothing available for us. Absolutely nothing. 22 years old, Bernhardt, Mistella, or Mistile, whatever. Damn it. Damn it, damn it. High top 6. Nope. Alright, centers, our last hope. I don't believe there was anybody forward-wise. Lars Eller is Danish, I do believe. Yep, we're fucked. Free agency-wise, we are boned. But let's see here. Anybody prospect-wise? Anybody at all? I'm looking at the ages again. 23, 20, but that's low bottom 6. There is nobody. There isn't a single guy we can go after. So let's move forward to the preseason. Just like that, our off-season is done. And we do get an off. Yeah, Anton Vermette for a second rounder. Get the hell out of my kitchen. Wow. So, from potentially making the playoffs to missing out, our dominant AHL team getting booted in the second round, we took home some hardware with Nylander and Högberg. In the draft, we did get Rasmus Dahlin and absolutely nothing else. And that's going to lead to us changing our draft strategy for the rest of the series. And then in free agency, there was absolutely nobody. So we head into next year with the same team, barring any changes we make because of certain progression. Just progression from certain players, whether or not we have a new defenseman inside the top 6 and we have to get rid of somebody. That's the only way we're going to end up with players. And I mean, we do have some draft picks to work with. You know, we acquired that first round pick in the last episode from Carolina. But we could be in a rough spot. I mean, that was the point of the series, to make it challenging, to rebuild. And it is certainly looking like it's going to be a challenge, which is good, which is what I wanted. But let's take a look here. Let's take a look. It doesn't help, though, that we made the fucking playoffs in the first year. I just saw Nylander was a 90. I'm sure you saw that, too. Robin Lehner is an 88, listed as an elite goalie, which is good. He is no longer going to progress, though. That's his ceiling. Linus Ullmark, an 84, listed as a backup. Oh, God. Högberg jumped to an 85. Now, here's the thing. That's great, right? That is great for us. The question is, and we'll have to look at the rest of the team before deciding this. We could easily use Ullmark as a trade piece. We could use Högberg as a trade piece. Or we could use Robin Lehner to really try to get somebody helpful and then hope that with Högberg as our starter, he continues to develop. He had a pretty damn strong year in Ontario last year. And the good news is, Adam Werner, who, despite dropping, at the last season he was listed, despite being a 78, he was listed as a minor league starter. Now he's a point better. He's listed as a minor league backup. But regardless, he'll be our starter this year. Marmanland will be the backup down in Ontario. So the goalie situation isn't bad at all, really. So we have some room. I mean, we have 3 goalies who are NHL ready, and one of them has to go. We'll figure out who that is at some point. Defensively, Hedman's a 93. Larson just hasn't developed, and again, is somebody we could look to move out. But yeah, look at the log jam here. Look at the log jam here. Gunnarsson has to be called up. Lagesson should probably be called up. Let me look here. Top 2, top 4. Lagesson we could afford to keep down in the AHL. But Gunnarsson has to be called up as well. Here, let me go to forwards really quick. Because there's at least one guy that we can... Oh, there's 2 guys that we can send down here to get a good look really quickly. So defensively, we have our top 2. We arguably have our top 4 in Larson and Claesson. Again, Adam Larson, not a bad defensive D-man, even though we have him listed as a 2-way. You could argue, though, just get rid of him now. Frederick Claesson, again, same style as Adam Larson. But we just had guys like Arneson and Bankston continue to develop. They're up to 85s. I mean, they're on the team. And then Olofsson and Gunnarsson, who were here last year, could still be the returning third pairing. So you're talking about 6 players, and we can only keep 4 of them. So again, another decision to make. And depending on who we get rid of, we could bring in help offensively, which is where we'd probably need it. Yeah, which is where we'd probably need it, because I don't think we'd have to go out and get defensive help. You have Arneson, who's 23, Bankston's 24, Olofsson's 23, Gunnarsson's 21. Then you factor in who's in the system and who is still unsigned. We're all right. We're fine. It's just who do we get rid of? And then forwards, now it's 79 overalls there. You do have Eriksson Ek, who jumped up to an 84. You have Alex Nylander at an 83. Forward-wise, it's going to be tough, too. It is going to be tough. So really quickly, just so that I have the maneuverability, let me send down the extra players that we have. It won't affect them morale-wise. Actually, we'd be under the cap. I'm not even allowed to do that. I don't know if I go to forwards here. So, AHL level, Eriksson Ek, Nylander. You could argue Tobias Lindberg as well. And also listed there, depth forward, Forsbacka Karlsson, who started the year at the NHL level last season, did very well, went down to the AHL, still did very well, and you could argue should be on the NHL roster despite being listed as a depth guy. Which means, what do? Probably send down Daniel Czar. He tore up the AHL, but he's still listed as an other forward. Actually, yeah, he was listed as an other forward. So, let's see here. Right here we have 1 player too many? No, we have a couple of players too many. Grundstrom still listed as an other. Ullmark still listed as a minor league scorer. That would put us under value. Let me go back. Oh boy, it shouldn't matter when it's the fucking preseason. Yeah, it's just, I get that that's how the system works, but come on. So let's see here. Do we have everybody? We have depth forwards listed. We have 1 guy too many. Right? We have 1 guy too many, but we could easily fix that. I mean, for depth forwards, Nylander and Karlsson are here. Nordstrom and Rasmussen kind of in the same boat. So, let me see here. If I were to go to edit lines, and check out what we were looking at offensively here. Let me go best lines. Who does it scratch? It scratches Tobias Lindberg, which wouldn't be the case unless we want to give up. I mean, we could give up on Oscar Sundqvist as well. I'm not thinking he's going to progress. He could be a decent fourth-line grinder for us, but he's never going to eclipse, say, an 82 overall, in my estimation. Tobias Lindberg did drop an overall point, apparently, which is a bit of a shame, but he could rebound. And again, could be a decent fourth-line grinder for us. Didn't have a terrible rookie year. But with Nylander at a 90... I mean, you have... Alex is still listed as a depth guy, but he's a top-line guy. Look at the puck skills. Look at the 91 offensive awareness. He's on the top line with his brother. Arvidsson, second-line guy. Burakovsky, second-line guy. You could argue Forsbacka Karlsson is good enough to be on the second line, maybe even the third line. Same with Eriksson Ek. So, ideally, what we would probably do is... Actually, what would we do here? What would we do here? That's a tough question. Who's a better center? For example, we'll go with Rasmussen. So let me scratch Nordstrom and give you a look at what our lineup could be like. So, let's see here. Say we get rid of Stahlberg, right? Say we get rid of Stahlberg. We have... You know, we could have Burakovsky, Karlsson, Arvidsson go out and get a top line. Ideally, it would be a left wing or center to play with the Nylanders. And then the team's not looking bad. We have so many options. So many options with this team. You could argue that we do need, you know, a better... Well, actually, Karlsson is listed as a depth guy, so him playing on the second line wouldn't be terrible. It wouldn't be terrible. So you could argue, depending on what we wanted to do with our fourth line, whether or not we actually want to have Lindberg and Sundqvist still there, because down at the AHL level, you do have more offensive players in Dahlin. Lucas Wallmark isn't a terrible playmaker. Daniel Czar, not bad offensively, and we know he ripped up the AHL last year, 66 points in 68 games, 51 and 57. The previous year. Andreas Johnson might be a little bit away. Johan Sundstrom has a great puck skills category and an 89 offensive awareness. So we need to decide what we want to do with our fourth line. Do we want to have these two legit, fourth line role players, these grinders in Lindstrom and Sundqvist, or do we want to give guys a chance who are a bit more offensive? Now, talk about team balance, talk about the fact that it might be better suited for guys like Jonathan Dahlin to be down at the AHL level until they're actually ready, or at least until they're listed as depth forwards like Nylander and Karlsson. It's tough to say. It is tough to say. We do have a lot of options. In a moment, I will go look at the trade values. But goaltending, defense, offense, this is what we needed to happen. We need to make decisions on how to move this team forward. That is perfect, especially after the subpar draft overall and the flat-out nothingness that came from the free agency period. But unsigned players, I wanted to take a look. Liljegren's up to an 80. Liljegren's up to an 80. I believe he can be put in the AHL. So I am going to look to sign him here. Everybody else... I mean, we do have a couple of other guys that could be signed. Again, I'm not entirely sure how many of them are actually allowed to go to the AHL, but we could end up signing guys to replace. But Liljegren will be signed as well. We'll probably play him at the AHL level, as it should allow us to do. And if not, I might even play him at the NHL level. So many options. So many options. And then, talking about the goaltending, I might just sign Hultstrand as the, or maybe we'll even go out and get another goalie. It's tough to say. I'm not sure. Let's go take a look, because I don't know if I'm going to make any decisions in this episode. I think I want to hear from you guys. And, I mean, obviously, you got to keep it in perspective. You got to keep it in check. We're not going to be able to go out and get Rickard Rakell, Nicholas Backstrom, Erik Karlsson. But we could certainly make some moves that could make this team even better than they already are. So, goalies, Robin Lehner does have very good value. He is a strong goaltender that we could use to get a really good piece, and maybe that is where someone like Rickard Rakell could come in. Maybe a Philip Forsberg type, I'm not sure. I'd have to go through the teams again just to see who plays where at this point. But yeah, I mean, Ullmark and Högberg are both about equal, and I'd rather trade Ullmark than Högberg just because, I mean, one, he's younger and he's better overall. But that's a decision we have to make. Do we get rid of Linus Ullmark, or do we get rid of Robin Lehner in attempts to make a big-time move? Defensively, our top 4 prospects are set. Arneson's there. Adam Larsson and Fredrik Claesson don't have the best value, but we could, manage to make it work. Could get picks and then turn those picks and involve those picks in an even bigger trade. That is for sure. So many options. Oh my God. So many things we could do. And then offensively, it is a bit rough as far as potential goes. I mean, you do have Elias Anderson, Grundstrom, Davidson, Jens Luke, who are coming up. But from there, at least trade value starts to dip. A lot of these prospects, I mean, Dahlin, Asplund, Boqvist, can still become decent players. Their trade values just aren't insane, which is where trading a Robin Lehner could come into play. Not to mention, of course, we have 2 first-round picks. We have a second-rounder, 2 third-rounders as well. We managed to recoup some draft picks thanks to how we handled the rest of the draft in the last episode. Guys, we have a lot of options. And I want to hear from you. Surprise, surprise, I want to hear from you guys. So let me know what you think. Offensively, we could very well use another top-line guy. To get that, we're probably going to need to either give up picks or maybe even Robin Lehner. So offensively, we'll probably try to go out and get another top-line guy, but more importantly from you, I need to know, what do we do with the 4th line? Do we want to have a bit of diversity and have a grind/defensive line, even though their defensive stats aren't the best? Or do we want to call up some guys from the AHL who maybe aren't quite ready, but could, progress a little bit quicker with the playing time? Defensively, I mean, it's got to be Larsson and Claesson, right? We're probably going to keep Bengtsson and Arneson. I think that's a fairly universal opinion. And then the goaltending. What do we do? Guys, let me know. That will do it for this video. In the next episode, we get this team sorted out and we begin the sim on Season 3. Will we return to the playoffs? I have a feeling we will by the time this team is finished. So until next time, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, of course, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. And I will see you guys in the next episode of A Nation United.